Last summer, my granddaughter asked me to take a walk with her to the end of the street, just to the end of the street and back. And I told her maybe later. Not because I was busy, not because I did not want to. Because I had looked at that stretch of sidewalk and quietly, privately decided I was not sure I could make it there and back without something hurting. And she was 7 years old, and she did not understand why Grandma Rose said maybe later, and I did not know how to explain it to her. So I too said maybe later and went inside and sat down. That was the moment I decided I needed to stop accepting things I had not actually examined. My name is Rose. I am 72 years old. And what I found out over the following months changed something I had been doing every single week for years. Because the reason my legs felt the way they felt was not entirely age. Some of it was food. Specific food. Food I considered healthy. And today I want to walk you through exactly what I discovered. 3 vegetables that may be quietly working against your legs, your joints, and your circulation after 60, and 3 that I now consider some of the most valuable things I put in my body. Stay with me until the end, because the 3rd vegetable in the first group is the one that genuinely stopped me cold when I understood what it was doing. Let us start with what helps. Because there is real good news here, and I want you to feel it. The first vegetable is broccoli. And I want to tell you the specific reason it matters for leg health and joint pain after 60, because most people who eat it do not know this part. Broccoli contains a compound that activates your body's own internal cleanup process, helping clear the low-grade inflammation that builds silently in blood vessels, connective tissue, and joints over time. That quiet inflammation is one of the main forces behind stiff knees, poor circulation in the legs, and the gradual heaviness that makes a walk to the end of the street feel like a decision instead of just a walk. It also supports bone density, which matters for balance and stability. And it supports circulation, specifically in the legs and feet, which means steadier steps, better sensation, and a lower risk of falls. 4 minutes of light steaming. Keep it firm and bright green. Overcook it, and you have dissolved most of what makes it malleable. The second vegetable is spinach. And before I tell you what it does, I want to tell you about a phone call with my daughter. She called on a Tuesday evening, just to talk, the way she does, and at some point she mentioned something, a plan we had made together the week before, something specific, and I had no memory of it. None. Not a vague outline, not a fragment. Just nothing. I laughed it off. I said, well, you know me. But after I hung up, I sat there for a while and thought, actually, do I know me? Or have I been quietly accepting a version of myself that thinks a little slower, remembers a little less, and has started saying things like, well, you know me, as though that explains it? That is what brought me to spinach. And I want to share what I found with the person who told me, my son, who called it. And I want to be exact here. Actually fascinating, from a man who communicates primarily in nods, that is a standing ovation. Spinach contains natural compounds that support blood flow to the brain. As circulation slows with age, the fog, the slower word retrieval, the afternoons where your thinking just feels thick. That is often circulation, not age. Seniors who eat leafy greens regularly show measurably sharper cognitive performance. That is your independence. Your ability to stay present in a conversation, to feel like yourself, to be fully there with the people you love. Spinach also protects against the vision loss most common after 60 your ability to drive, to read, to see clearly across a room. Add it to eggs, blend it into a smoothie, saute it with a little olive oil, 4 minutes. It disappears into almost anything. And what it quietly does for you does not disappear at all. If you are still with me and this is landing somewhere familiar, drop a 1 in the comments right now. I read every single one, and it helps me understand what actually matters to you. The third vegetable that genuinely helps is one most people walk past without thinking twice: carrots. Humble, inexpensive, and seriously underestimated when it comes to leg health and balance specifically. The antioxidants in carrots protect the nerve pathways between your brain and your feet, the communication system that tells you when to shift your weight, when to catch yourself, when to adjust your step. Strong legs alone are not enough. You also need that signal to be clear and reliable. Carrots help keep it that way. 1 or 2 a day, raw or lightly steamed, now. Here is where I need you to slow down with me, because what I am about to share is the part most people over 60 have never been told. And I want you to hear it the way I wish someone had said it to me. Not to frighten you, but because I wasted a long time not knowing this. The first vegetable worth reconsidering is eggplant. I want to tell you exactly what happened at my doctor's appointment. She looked at my inflammation results and said, "Rose, what vegetables are you eating regularly? Not, are you eating vegetables? What vegetables, specifically?" I told her. She nodded slowly, the kind of nod that means she already knows something you are about to find out. And then she asked me one question. She said, "How do your joints feel the morning after you eat eggplant?" I sat there in that office and I did something I had not done before. I actually thought about it, and I realized the days I had woken up with the most stiffness, the mornings where my knees ached before I even stood up, the times I had blamed rain or a bad mattress or just being 72, many of those days had something in common. I drove home in silence. Eggplant contains a natural compound that can drive low-grade inflammation in joints and connective tissue, particularly in older adults whose bodies are less resilient to it. No dramatic reaction, just a slow, quiet accumulation of stiffness and restricted movement that you stop noticing is getting worse because it happens so gradually. Cooking does not remove it. I am not saying never touch eggplant again. I am saying pay attention the way I finally did, and see what you notice. The second vegetable worth reconsidering is green bell peppers, specifically green, and that distinction matters more than most people realize. Green bell peppers are unripened. They carry compounds that can interfere with how an aging digestive system absorbs nutrients, and they can sustain exactly the kind of low-level persistent inflammation that wears down joints and restricts blood flow to the legs over time. The signs are subtle. A little more ankle stiffness, slightly less sensation in the feet, balance that feels marginally less reliable than it used to. Easy to miss, easy to blame on everything else. Red, orange, and yellow peppers, fully ripened, do not carry the same concern. Gentler, richer in protective compounds, and honestly, they taste better. My daughter pointed this out to me about 2 years ago. I told her I already knew that. I absolutely did not know that. And now the third one, the one I want you to sit with. White potatoes. I grew up with white potatoes on the table every Sunday. My mother made them the same way every time. Boiled first, then finished in the pan with a little butter and onion, and the smell of that would come through the whole house on a Sunday morning and mean that everything was fine, that the week was over, that we were all together. I made them the same way for my own children, for decades, and giving them up felt like giving up something that had nothing to do with food. But here is what they were doing to my legs. White potatoes spike blood sugar faster than almost any other vegetable. And when that happens repeatedly, over months and years, it drives inflammation inside the small blood vessels that feed the legs and feet. Those vessels gradually stiffen. Blood flow to the lower body decreases. What begins as cold feet or occasional cramping can become reduced sensation, weakened muscles, and an instability that raises the risk of falls in ways that are almost invisible until they are not. I did not give up the warmth and the comfort and the Sunday morning feeling. I kept all of that. I just moved it into a sweet potato. Same pan, same butter, same onion. The smell coming through the house on a Sunday morning is almost identical. What is not identical is how my legs feel by Monday. I noticed that difference within 3 weeks, and I have not gone back. Here is where I landed after all of this. My inflammation markers at my follow-up appointment were lower. My doctor smiled. I told her about the walk to the end of the street with my granddaughter, the one I had finally taken on a Thursday afternoon in October, all the way there and all the way back. She did not even feel like a big deal by then. That was the point. Broccoli, spinach, and carrots. Worth making space for every single day. Eggplant, green bell peppers, and white potatoes. Worth looking at, honestly, especially if your joints or your legs have been giving you trouble and you cannot find a clear reason why. Sometimes the reason is in the vegetable drawer, looking perfectly innocent. Leave me a comment and tell me which one surprised you most. I mean that genuinely. I sit with my morning tea and I go through every single comment, and sometimes what you share down there tells me something I had not thought to look into. If this helped you, subscribe. And if someone you care about has been struggling with joint pain or leg weakness and chalking it up to age, send this to them. Because sometimes it is not age. Sometimes it is the eggplant. I am Rose. Go take good care of yourselves. You have earned it.